Welcome to the awakening that nobody warned you about. I'm going to say this clearly. I was a whole asshole when I first woke up. And if you went through an authentic Kundalini awakening like myself, you probably were too. And I'm here to tell you that it wasn't your fault. They sell awakening like it's all white light and mindful moments, yoga poses, and inner peace. And that is a lie. A real Kundalini activation is a supernatural event. If you did not have a supernatural experience when this happened to you, then you did not have a Kundalini awakening. You probably just had a spiritual awakening, and that's okay. We have many of those for anyone who is on this journey. You would already know. The difference is after a Kundalini awakening, you can't go back to sleep even if you tried. It is not soft. It is not gentle. It is the Most High ripping you open and flooding your system with every truth that you were never supposed to see all at once. There's no warning, no preparation, no gentle easing in. It's just raw, unfiltered reality of every single person that you ever trusted downloaded into your spirit like a fire hose that you can't shut off. Psychiatrist Stanislav Grof, formerly of Johns Hopkins University, spent over 60 years studying what happens to people during these activations. He calls it a spiritual emergency because the psyche becomes what he described as a colossal battlefield between the forces of good and evil. He documented that people's identities fracture, their values fall apart, and the ground beneath their reality shifts so violently that everyone around them thinks that they have lost their mind. But they haven't lost anything. In fact, they're gaining everything. And it's coming in way too fast to process. That's why you look crazy when it first happens. When Kundalini activates, it switches on every clair that you carry. Clairvoyance, you start seeing. Clairaudience, you start hearing things that were said about you in rooms that you were never in. Claircognizance, you start knowing things that you have no earthly business knowing. Telepathy comes online, and suddenly you can hear what people are actually thinking while they're smiling in your face. You feel their intentions before they even open their mouth. You pick up conversations that happen behind closed doors, behind your back, about you, word for word. Gopi Krishna confirmed that Kundalini is the biological basis of all psychic manifestations. Clairvoyance, mediumship, every single one. Dr. Lee Sannella, who studied nearly 1,000 cases at his Kundalini clinic in San Francisco, confirmed clinical conditions that these psychic energies are very real. This is not metaphor. It's not imagination. It is not a mental health crisis. This shit is real. Now, imagine waking up one day and suddenly seeing that the people that you loved the most, the ones that you would have taken a bullet for, were the very ones plotting against you, slandering your name, smiling in your face while draining your energy for years. You can actually see the cords attached to your spirit. You can feel who's been feeding off of you. And if you're a seer, you can actually see what they're planning to do next before they even do it. And everybody expects you to stay calm, to heal quietly, and to meditate your way through it. No, you reacted because sacred rage is part of the process. And nobody warned you about that either. So there you are, freshly activated, every psychic gift online, downloads slamming into your system nonstop. You are finally seeing the truth about every single person around you all at once. Not in metaphor, not in vibes, but in high definition. And what did you do? You lashed out. You told people exactly who they were to their face and publicly. You went online and you laid it all out on your social media. You cut people off so fast that they are still trying to figure out what happened to this day. And the research says that is exactly what happens when you have an authentic Kundalini awakening. The Kundalini Consortium documented that when Kundalini activates, raw personal anger becomes magnified beyond all proportion. Not because you're unstable, but because Kundalini ignites the fire element in your system, and every unprocessed emotion, every betrayal you swallowed to keep the peace, every lie you tolerated because you loved someone more than you loved yourself, all of it comes roaring up to the surface and through you like a volcano that has been sealed shut for decades. This is a cellular process. It is ancient. It is stored in your DNA, and it's coming up whether you're ready for it or not. You do not get a vote. Gopi Krishna described his own post-awakening as 12 years of alternating between unbearable agony and transcendent light. Extreme mood swings, sensations of fire moving through his body, complete destabilization of everything that he thought he knew. And he was meditating quietly when it hit. And he did not have that extra layer of realizing his own bloodline had been the source of the drain, like most of the chosen end up experiencing. Tibetan teachings acknowledge that wrathful forces exist specifically to destroy whatever blocks the spiritual path. The ego has to burn before truth can take root. Anger sharpens clarity. When that fire moves through you, you see what is right and what is wrong with a precision that frightens the people who were counting on you to stay blind. And here's what makes it worse. When you start speaking on what you see and calling out the manipulation, the fake love, the coordinated plots and plans against you, they call you crazy. They call you mentally ill and unstable. The same people who once praised your intuition now want to gaslight your supernatural sight into the dirt. Because if they ever admit that you are right, they have to admit what they've done. And nobody wants to take accountability for that shit. So, you become the unstable one, the dramatic one, the one who changed, the one who needs help. Meanwhile, you're the only one in the room actually seeing clearly for the first time in your life. And a Kundalini awakening will also make it so that you don't give a fuck anymore about what people think of you anyway. So they can say whatever they want after this shit happens, because you end up getting so confident and strong within yourself that you don't need any outside validation anymore. That's what a Kundalini awakening transforms inside of you. Grof warned that modern psychiatry cannot distinguish spiritual emergency from a mental illness. The very system that they would have sent you into for help would have medicated every prophet and every mystic in history, and they would have made them silent. They do not call you crazy because you're wrong. They call you crazy because you're right. And that is the one thing that they'll never be able to handle. The anger within you when you had your awakening had to surface first. This was the wound the Most High needed access to before anything else could be healed. He had to break you before you could be rebuilt. It wasn't your fault. Love you.